So the first show is one of the action shows that happened this season, and that show would be Blue Exorcist, Kyoto Saga.
Oh yes, and going into this, I was a little weary because I kind of thought that when they said Kyoto Saga, I'm like, oh come on, we're not. This is a side thing. This is not part of the main story. This isn't continuing where we left off. This is like detour. Let's go here for a little while and see what this happens. And it kind of is. It kind of is. But I like the fact that it's actually kind of ties in a little bit with the actual main story as well. I kind of feel.
Yeah.
Is that what you got about that?
Yeah, I feel like it fit like right into the middle of the series, and you could basically watch the first 16 episodes, then watch the saga, and then you could go back and it would still work. One thing that I'm wondering is, because they left it so open-ended, is that how it's supposed to work, or are they going to continue the story after this and kind of dub over the second half of the first season? And
I think it's a continuation from this. Like, this takes place after the first season, I feel like, because it doesn't seem like, I mean, again, it's been a while since I've watched the first season, long time, so I'm a little itchy. I kind of remember there being a big fight scene at the end of the first season.
Yeah,
I just don't remember like the specifics for it more per se. But I do have the recollection he didn't really have control over his powers even then. Did he not, like, full control? He was kind of like more of a berserker, kind of just let loose kind of thing? Yeah. Or did he actually have more of a fine control over it?
And in this one, he had way more control than he did in the original series.
Well, yeah.
But
I'm just trying to gauge it based upon that, because, I mean, that was a big focal point in this saga. The Kyoto Saga was him gaining control over his ability.
Yeah. He was still, I'm pretty sure he was still unstable. Like, he didn't have the fine-tuned focus.
Yeah. And because they keep referencing during this whole thing the fact that there was that big council meeting talking about how he was on thin ice, and the fact that if he flared up, he would potentially be considered an enemy.
Yeah.
And be up for exorcism and stuff like that. I kind of think that that seems to me like something that would have happened after everything that happened at the end of the first season. Like, they were doing throwback or flashbacks for something that the viewers hadn't really seen. And I think that was something that happened after, in between the point when Kyoto Saga started and the first series ended, I want to say. At least that's what it seems like to me.
Yeah, they were doing the flashbacks kind of weird. Like, at the beginning of the Kyoto Saga, they only showed stuff from before episode 16. And then a couple episodes later, they started, like, doing flashbacks from the whole first series. And it was kind of confusing. I'm like, wait a minute, none of that didn't happen because of the relationship that the characters currently have. So they wouldn't become his friend and save the world, basically, and then be scared of him again. Like, it didn't make sense.
I don't know. I guess it's been such a while, I kind of remembering it differently. So either way, though, I kind of thought, like, in the very beginning of it, the whole, I'm afraid of him because he's the son of the devil, blue flames, gone crazy, no control and everything. It seemed a little bit like, okay, come on, haven't we been through this song and dance before? Don't you know him? Can't you kind of push that aside and know he's a good guy and that you need to work together and this is going to be a good thing? But it just kept going back to that, and I was just like, oh my God, just stop. And then it finally happened. They said that was one of the turning points, quote unquote turning points, that they had, is when, the girl finally went up to him and went, oh no, you're great, you're good, I trust you. And he was like, oh, okay, cool. And I don't know. As much as I like the series and I at least enjoyed watching the Kyoto Saga, I still think that it was kind of, I don't know, seemed like it was almost forced.
Yeah, I feel like they tried to button everything up really nicely.
Yeah. Which I've seen some slipshod. We both seen some really slipshod work when it comes to, like, series trying to button up all the things at the very end, and you're looking at them going, how does that even work. This at least did a pretty decent job of buttoning it up. But it still felt like it was buttoning it up, and you're like, okay, I guess this is all happy joy now. We're all good. This is all cool. So
yeah, I feel like part of me feels like this should have just been a movie.
I can see that.
Cause like they all go on a trip and they're at like off main location from the first series. They meet a bunch of new characters. You get some backstory. They fight a villain, and then they go home. And that's basically the plot of like a movie or a special or something like that.
Yeah,
they just added.
I think it would have been like a little like it would have been like a double movie, because I don't think they could have done it in just the manner of time of like one single run.
No, yeah, definitely. It would. They would have to take out a lot of the backstory and a lot of the character development for it to be able to fit into a movie.
Like a single movie. Yeah. But if they did like a double movie, they could probably cut out a little bit, not be too carried away, and still be able to manage to get all the things that they needed to fit into that. Yeah,
because basically the series is about 4 hours, so a double movie would be about 3, and yeah, take about an hour of it out, and it would be like a double movie. So yeah, maybe like Kyoto Arc Part 1, Kyoto Arc Part 2.
Yeah, I guess that to me would have been a lot better, and it would have made more sense too.
Yeah, there wouldn't be as much confusion as far as like the main storyline is concerned, like the weird flashbacks where they're like, we're not friends anymore and all that kind of stuff. It would be like a separate storyline, and everything would have played out way better now that I think about it.
Yeah, so like I said, it seems like it was forced. It really does.
Yeah,
they forced it into a series when they didn't have to. It could have easily played out into like a two-part movie compilation, and it would have been just even better.
Yeah, I'm trying to think, like, what part could they have like stopped it at? Like, oh, there you go. As soon as the king like started coming out, they could have like ended the movie and left like a really horrible cliffhanger. You'd be like, no. But yeah, I think it would have been better as a 2-part movie, like you said.
Not to say it was bad, not by any stretch of the means. I always enjoy the world that is Blue Exorcist is really nice, and it's different. It's like I love those types of animes that try to take what you know for the real world versus they just give it a little twist, because it's like, what if these actually existed? Here you go. This is what would happen. It's exactly the same as the normal world, and even at the end, they go and visit all those places in Kyoto. And I'm pretty sure you could probably go and visit all those places in Kyoto and be perfectly fine. So it's like seeing that and then being like, well, so it's always nice when you get those little animes like that to do it. So I always enjoy the world, and the characters are always great. I'm really curious as to what Mephisto's main plot is.
Yeah. So
I really am.
Yeah, so I feel like the way that they have it now, his plot could be the big fight at the end of the first series. Mm-hmm. Or if they're going to retcon it, then I'm really interested for like a season 3.
Yeah. Oh yeah, definitely. I'm like, really curious as to what that was going to come about.
Because like the animation style changed a bit, and there were like a few points here and there where I'm like, ugh. But like overall, the first series looked great. The second series looks even better, and I can't wait to see if they put another arc in there somewhere.
I hope not. I hope we just continue. I hope we can move forward now.
Well, I feel like well, one thing that I was confused about is the girl with the little bitty eyebrows.
Yeah.
She lost her familiars at one point.
Did she?
Yeah, like there was a big fight and like she wavered, and then her familiars turned on her, and then when they disappeared.
Yeah, it's because the symbols that she had written on the paper had been destroyed.
Yeah,
because she was holding on to them with her hands, and then the king came through, and like when he was devouring her, it crumpled and destroyed the papers. Well, like so they disappeared.
Well, so when they were like all their little kids were like carrying what's his name's dad. Yeah, that was funny. Yeah. I was talking about in the first series.
Oh, in the first series.
Yeah, okay. She lost them, and then for some reason she couldn't get them back. And then like every time, or they turned on her, and whenever she tried to get them back, there were issues. So in this series, I can't remember. Did she lose them and get them back before episode 16? And then that's why she can have them now? Or did she not get them back until the end? Because I can't remember.
I don't remember the first season as well, so I can't say whether or not that happened, if she did, or if that was something, and it seems to me like if she did that, if that was a case during the middle of it, this has got to be towards the end. Like, this has got to be the end of the first season then, because how then would she have the familiars that she used, and she didn't have any issues using them at all?
Yeah, so I can't remember like when all of that took place, but it would have been like just thinking of the whole story. Like for example, Dragon Ball Z, like stuff that happens in those movies. You're like, oh, that was cool. Oh, that's kind of cool for like backstory, but it doesn't really relate to like the main story. So they could do basically whatever they want. And then with this one, it's confusing when you tie it directly into the story. So
but see, that's why I was saying it would have been better if they'd done it as a double movie, because then people would have a little bit more way of like disconnecting it from the first series, instead of like all of us are wanting to try to like connect it with the series, because we're like, well, this is a Kyoto arc, it should be somewhere in the timeline, we should have something here, but we're all kind of looking at it going, wait, where does this happen? Where? Who? What? Why? How? So I don't know. Again, great series, but I don't confuses me. And I would, in order to even understand exactly what it is that how this connects and everything, I would have to rewatch the whole first season. Because like I know the first season, I watched it, I understand it, but I've only know like general parts of it and like bits and pieces that stick out in my mind about how things happened and how things developed. But doing this exactly, I would have to look at fine details, and in order to do that, you got to rewatch the whole thing.
And I even rewatched the whole thing, but that was like 2 months ago, so now I just forgot the details.
Yeah, see, and can't ask me about that because I don't remember.
Yeah, one thing about Shiemi, she.
What was the blonde-haired girl?
Yeah.
Okay, yeah.
Yeah, she had lost her familiar too.
Yeah.
And then she didn't get it back until this movie.
Yep.
So
until this series.
I'm sorry. I keep calling the movie. Yeah, she didn't get it back until this.
Yeah, and like at the very end, pretty much.
Yeah.
Didn't even happen till like the very end of it. So still, again, great movie, great characters, great design, all around an awesome anime. So
yeah, I love how they gave backstory to a lot of characters and like tied, like they basically.
Go ahead.
So it's like, I guess, what is her name? The girl with the eyebrows.
Okay. Just call her eyebrows. I know who you're talking about. Everyone knows who you're talking about.
I don't want to call her eyebrows, but yeah, she, cause it's like the 3 guys. One of them's called Kuroneko, and I don't like him having that name because that's like a girl's name.
I don't want you to have that name.
No, because it's like one of my favorite characters. It's my favorite female character from another series. So when they call him that, I'm like, no. But it's him, the pink-haired dude, and then Bone, or is that his nickname? Yeah, whatever, Bone. All 3 of them are like tied together through like family relationships and all that kind of stuff. And it was like those 3, and then you have Yukio and Rin, their brothers, and then you have the 2 girls who were kind of individuals, and all of them meshed together. And in the first series, like things would happen and with Bone and Ring, but all 3 guys would kind of like team up together, and it's kind of cool for this second series to explain why they are all so close. And even though they explained over and over like what the Blue Knight was and how it affected their families, it's really, really cool to actually go there and see the characters.
Oh, absolutely.
So I thought that was really great. And then also for them to even introduce more characters, like all like the Snake clan, I guess. And all of those characters are really cool. And I just love the way that this story played out. But
see, like I said, I have no issues with like it, and the fact that they did this, I really don't have any issues with either. Even though it felt like it was kind of a filler, it didn't seem like it was. It still felt like it tied in pretty well, and it still felt like, you know, again, the series itself, characters phenomenal, the overall like look of it phenomenal, you know, and even like all the different nooks and crannies, everything for it is great. I love the series. It's just confusing trying to look at it and go, now where does this go? Because I don't know. So yeah, there's a little cohesion that seems to be the missing out of it, but beyond that, phenomenal series. Loved it. So where out of the ones we watched, I guess, where would you kind of rate this one?
All of the other shows, if I think about them, they're all silly except for one. Mm. Like, there's only 2 serious shows this season, and because this brings back so much nostalgia, I want to say this is number 1.
Really?
Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah, because it pulled on my heartstrings a bit. Yeah. So for me, this is my favorite series
for this season.
Yeah.
See, I mean, I don't know. It might have been my all-time favorite for this season. It's that speed bump that I felt like we had in like the first 2 or 3 episodes. We were like, everyone was trying to get over the fact that he was the son of Satan and everything.
Yeah.
And it's like that in and of itself made me be like, oh God. It took me a little while before I finally was like, okay, I can actually start repetitively watching this and wanting to know what's going on. You know, and that's kind of sad. For as much as I like the series and have watched the first season and loved watching that, to watch the second one basically and be looking at it going, after like the first episode being like, do I really want to keep watching? I don't know. So there was a bit of a speed bump. So I mean, to me, if I had to say, this might be like my number 2.
Okay.
So
yeah. So I'll say, as far as watch order, I think you can watch it in release order, because I think just watching the whole first series through and like after episode 16, how they ended up deciding to go, and then watching this one second would be totally fine, because it does kind of seem like it's a separate thing.
Yeah, a little bit. It's just hard to say. I'd have to rewatch the first series with the second one still fresh in my mind to be able to place where this one would be, or if it's a continuation, or if it's somewhere in the middle, or whatever.
Yeah.
So,
anyways. Yes, this Blue Exorcist, awesome. Come out with another arc, and I will be there.
Absolutely.
All right. Yeah.
But to me, that conflict, even in my mind, is what makes it interesting. This is going to be one of those animes that is not going to leave my mind for a while. Even an absolutely solid anime. Where you were saying that Gabriel Dropout was missing the jokes and the humor, this one picked up on it. So